Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, we're all holding up pretty well. Good to see you, my friend.
Nice to see you, man. Good talking to you earlier.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much with the damage, you know, think about starting really in the south here. So this is the line where South Harrison is and Harrison is here. Yeah. They really started there. So that's why they're raising up.
And we need help with it. Get all the financial aid that they can get. So there is, you don't get more power than the most powerful man in the state. You have the second most powerful man in the state there, the state Senate President Steve Sweeney, who coincidentally has part of the 322 bypass named after him, which was influential in getting that road through here. So he has that kind of ice from the town too.
Great cost there, but it's because family, friends, neighbors, community stepped up and
his cause as well. So
we have some farmers that are devastated in the area.
Certainly has a lot of flooding to deal with as well, like we saw in Philadelphia. He has up in North Jersey with the Passaic River overflowed.
And our biggest farmer is
Businesses killed a 70-year-old man. I think we're still looking for a couple of people missing.
As you said, I'll figure it out. I'm here with my family now and his family.
There you go. And
another dozen farmers.
Good luck, and then
Seen in the room at that point.
We'll talk to him and get back to what he has something to say here.
Yeah, right. You know, all the way through what's in the contract. Crystallized in front of my eyes, and having never dealt with something like this, you know, in front of my eyes last night within minutes, and then within an hour, the coordination in my local site at our fire department with our local OEM director, who just appointed 2 weeks ago, by the way.
Oh,
but
talk about a baptism.
Yeah, he depended, so that's Ken Powell, but he depended on the county coordination, and it was stellar. And there were people in the room, all the communities surrounding, issue electric was online. The county coordination through the bullhorn and the radio, disseminated and directed and dispatched crews from there based on their coordination. Great job.
So I want to make sure you meet Dan Kelly before we break today. Dan works in our office and he's been overseeing disasters in this state for longer than you care. Irene, Sandy, and if there are any individual family members here, I don't know if there are in these homes. But Dan can also deal directly with them. We also have the Superintendent of State Police Force, Colonel Kelly.
Right behind us.
Behind us, Pat. Yeah, I was going to say a couple of things. Like Lou.
We have a setup.
Are there any, at some point, are there any family members here? I'd love to say hello to some folks and see how they're doing. We can do that. We can do that after. Okay.
appreciate it. We got to stop meeting like this.
I was thinking of myself, what was the last time I saw you? Where was it good to somewhere else?
I don't think it's been a
Usually
long time.
The last time we're doing vaccinations and
Oh yeah. We appreciate all the help.
Yeah. I do know that right now he's about to Oh my God.
Haven't seen you since you came on board on JTA. Yeah, that was the garbage unit, right? It's good to see you.
Their words. I want to thank Mayor Lou Menzo for hosting us with this unspeakable, extraordinary event. As I said to him, he and I have gotten to know each other over the past 24 hours, not necessarily in the way that we would have hoped. I want to thank the Senate President, Steve Sweeney, the Congressman Donald Norcross, County Commissioner Director Bob Daminger, Superintendent of the State Police, Colonel Pat Callahan, Dan Kelly on my team, Assemblyman Berzacelli and Assemblyman Spearman. I think that's it with who's with us up here. You know, an extraordinary, sadly tragic, historic 24 hours in New Jersey. There's no other way to put it. Needless to say, look on either side of us right now in the impact of these tornadoes that touched down in this county and here, obviously in Mullica Hill, but also in Winona, Deptford, Woodbury Township. Thank God, unless someone knows otherwise, casualties are extremely limited, which is there but for the grace of God, which is extraordinary. Look at the house behind us if you want to get a sense of how it could have been. And as Steve Sweeney has said, if you look at either side of the path of this, you've got houses to the left and right which are largely intact, if not completely intact, and yet you've got houses that right in the path that are destroyed. Up north, the story was less tornadoes, but overwhelming flooding. And largely the big roads are open, although 78 and 280 are still works in progress. And there are a lot of off-ramps and other road challenges that we still have before us. But it was largely a storm, with tornadoes being the big story in the south and flooding being the big story in the central and northern part of the state. And this is going to take us some time to dig out of. There's no question about it. And I want to just say on behalf of all of us, we're going to stay here and be by the side of the residents and the small businesses that have been impacted so severely. You're barely getting, if you're a small business, you're barely getting back on your feet from a pandemic, and you get whacked by this, and you ask yourself rightfully, life's not so fair sometimes. But I promise that we will stay with everybody, and it won't be a short road, but we will stay with them on that road to recovery. I just got off, which is why I'm a few minutes late, with the FEMA Administrator Criswell. I've said to her, and she's been terrific, and her team has been terrific, that we will be sending in a major disaster declaration request today. I will speak shortly with the President and reiterate that and thank him for his support and help. And that will be a game changer if that is accorded in terms of our ability to get individuals, families, businesses, and our infrastructure and the cleanup back to where it should be. NJ Transit is a work in progress, both on the rail and the bus side, somewhat depending on where you are in the state. For instance, the Atlantic City line, I'm told, has been clear sailing, which is good news, but that's not the case for most every other line in the central and northern part of the state. As I mentioned, the highways getting a work in progress. The Parkway and Turnpike are wide open north to south, and that's good. We've got a couple of challenges still on the interstates, and as I mentioned, some local off-ramp type issues that are going to take some time to fix. We have had fatalities. I won't get into the details or the numbers. We did not have them here, thank God, but we have had them in the central and northern part of the state, so please keep those folks in your prayers. And as we get more specificity on that, we will obviously let you know. But sadly, more than a few folks have passed as a result of this. I think that is it as a general matter, other than, as I say, we'll stay at this as long as it takes. I will likely be doing some more stops later this afternoon, probably in central and northern part of the state, and those will be largely getting a handle on the flooding impact there. Again, we keep all of the victims, both individuals, families, small businesses on Main Street, in our prayers. And again, we will not relent. We will stand by the sides of everybody who's been impacted by this in New Jersey until we get back on our feet. I guess I'd close with a pretty obvious statement, but the world is changing, right? These storms are coming in more frequently. Steve and I were on the phone last night on this topic. They're coming in more frequently. They're coming in with more intensity. And as it relates to our infrastructure, our resiliency, our whole mindset, the playbook that we use, we got to leap forward and get out ahead of this. Any infrastructure money we get, I'll bet you a lot of it will be put into resilient infrastructure, because that's exactly what you need when you're the most densely populated state in the nation with our extraordinary location, which is second to none. I think any amount of investment we can make in the years ahead in resilient infrastructure will be investment that will help us, please God, if we have to deal with things like this going forward in the years ahead. Anybody want to add anything, guys?
Just from the federal side, first of all, thank you, Governor, for being here. Steve, the legislative team for New Jersey, and certainly the commissioners and mayor and township. I'm looking across the street, and that could be any of our closets. The shoes are there, and behind me, swing set that children could have been playing on. The fact that people were not killed or seriously injured is just amazing. But when we look at this, and we were in Washington last night monitoring, we were in session till 3 o'clock this morning. We jumped on the train, and literally I got stopped in Delaware because we couldn't get into Philadelphia or above, as you know. Yeah. This is a problem that's going on. But we never had tornadoes of this nature when we grew up, occasionally a small one. What we see behind here is change. And you mentioned the infrastructure, that's exactly what we're working on. Luckily, we're going to get that done and bring those much-needed resources to what we have here today. Speaking with FEMA, we reloaded them because this storm was supposed to make a right-hand turn, go out to sea by North and South Carolina. But as we go into Labor Day weekend, I want to say thank you to all those who labored to help the people behind us, whether you're the utility for electricity or you're a neighbor helping them pull out. That's what makes New Jersey a great state. We help each other in times of need, and we're going to need more help. So based on that, we just want to thank all you who helped. And certainly if you're having trouble, obviously give our office a call. Certainly the legislators, insurance issues, certainly we want to be there for help.
Amen.
With that.
Steve, come on down. Thanks, Tom.
I want to start with thanking our first responders. They come out, they're the front line of defense, and they do a hell of a job for us, and they put their own safety at risk. The county's OEM is outstanding. The coordination, everyone working together to make things work. And talking to Bob last night and Lou, the mayor, and most importantly, the governor, because I asked him for some help. And help came last night.
Thank you, man.
Because we have a lot of trees down. You know, you're seeing property damage here, but as you travel through this county, it looks like a bomb hit in some places.
Yep.
And getting those trees cleaned up is critically important. So, Governor, I just want to say thank you for stepping up once again
My honor.
to help the citizens of this county and the state. Look, anybody's a global warming denier. Take a look at what's going around. As Donald said, you might have had an occasional storm, and it wasn't anything. These things are getting stronger, and there's more damage. We got to do something.
You betcha.
Because it's too late now. But, Governor, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Governor, for families that are waiting for the FEMA funds, families impacted, are there state funds they can look at, or is that Red Cross? How do they get help right now?
Yeah, I mean, we will probably be, we'll be putting up a whole lot of information on where people should either go, websites or calls, or phone numbers rather, to go to. And it will be both a combination of state, federal, and third parties like the Red Cross. And it will obviously depend in part whether or not you've got a structure like this versus whether it's water damage, etc. I want to reiterate, before we take a couple of questions, the points that these guys just made, in particular on first responders. I was in a room this morning at the statewide traffic management system with the colonel and Dan, and nobody in that room. I slept a couple hours. Lou, I suspect you didn't sleep much last night, or Bob. Nobody in that room had slept. So to the Atlantic City Electric team, to the DOT folks, DEP, to the county, Bob, to you and your colleagues at the county, the state police, the local teams, OEMs, cannot thank you enough. You're on a pedestal. Brian.
Governor, before you
Bob, come on.
Before you take questions, I'm Bob Damager. I'm the director of the Board of Commissioners in Gloucester County. Before the governor takes some questions, just want to put it out. We have all these cameras here. It's the easiest way to get out to people in Gloucester County. Anyone affected by the storm in Gloucester County and the tornadoes. The Red Cross is set up at the Gloucester County Institute of Technology, and they're there to help serve you. So
that's
Governor,
great, Bob. Thank you. Everyone get that, because as Bob says, we got a lot of cameras on us. Let's take advantage of it, right? Brian.
Governor, you and the legislature, Steve Sweeney, the Speaker, have charted a fairly ambitious course against climate change. Does this, and you've said several times, they're becoming more intense, the storms more frequent. Does this suggest to you that we need to accelerate the efforts that are already underway?
Unequivocally, yes. And I think, I don't know where Donald went, but the federal infrastructure bill that is being debated, God willing, voted on sooner than later, I should say bills. You've got two different buckets there. Any amount of that will be of huge help toward our efforts. I just want to make sure this isn't, I can't see this thing. Yeah, I believe this may be the president, so I'm just going to take this and make sure.
Tell him I said hello.
It's Bob Damager, Mr. President, says, I think I missed that, but the answer is unequivocally yes. I assume you all would agree. I'm sorry? State and federal, but there's only, we will put state resources into this as we have done and will continue to do, but the game changer here is the feds and the work that Donald is doing with federal dollars. Please.
Governor, we talked to some victims here in this neighborhood. They said the alerts they got from the National Weather Service came quick enough on their phones to get to their basement,
Yep.
save their lives. Alerts also went out, flood emergencies for up north, yet a lot of people were still trapped in their cars. Some died in their cars.
Sadly.
Don't know even how many water rescues there were. Is there a way to improve, to get people off these roads when these flash flood emergencies are issued before the inevitable happens?
Yeah, it's a great question. We had this very conversation, the Colonel and I and others this morning. Thank God the alerts worked in this case, right? So as bad as the damage is behind us, I'm told that family was in the house, they went to the basement, and they're alive as a result of it. Steve, you told me last night you went to the basement. People did the right thing. I don't know, this is a personal opinion. I'm not sure, and we're going to look at this, I'm not sure it's a difference of the alerts, because the alerts did go out. I got them myself on my phone. But I think people hear flooding and they hear tornado, and I think perhaps they put them into a different category. And sadly, we can't do that. And people pay with their lives as a result of that yesterday. But we're going to look at the entire system. There were too many cars on the road, and too many cars. Thank God most of them were abandoned and people got out safely, but that was not the case for everyone, sadly. Please.
My question's actually for the mayor.
Please, come on, Lou.
Township response. Obviously, this is something that you do not see here very often. What kind of training goes into this? And can you talk a little bit about what happened when the first responders arrived?
Sure. Yeah, obviously this is an unprecedented event for us locally and even regionally. And what I will say is how impressed I was as I arrived at our Office of Operation for Emergency Management at our fire hall last night, maybe at 6:45. And at that point, it was just me and my OEM director and a couple of firefighters. And I watched the process coordinated by the county, and I want to give the county their due with Director Damager, and that's the way it's supposed to work, where everything is coordinated through the county. I watched it crystallize in front of my eyes over the next 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes, where everything was coordinated and nothing was dispatched, and we had people now filling the room ready to work. And that's the other part of this support from our neighboring communities and from individuals just showing up in the middle of, at that point, a torrential rainstorm after the tornado had left, and filling our firehouse ready to be dispatched, but not doing anything based on our local OEM directive that we have to hear from the county first. They did a stellar job. Thank God, and only by the grace of God was there no loss of life or serious injury to be dealt with during that critical first hour or 90 minutes. But by the time we got through that, the coordination, it was like clockwork. And it was really something to behold. And I literally was just watching it all happen. Incredible. Where we go from here is it's a focus on our residents and their health and well-being, first of all, and therefore if there is a sheltering need or any type of support, that is coming to us, in spades, where we're just getting so many offers for that. That will be our focus, and we have that coordinated locally from a township perspective. And then it becomes about these homes and the damage to them and the digging out, cleaning up, and rebuilding. And look, that's where Americans, New Jerseyans, quintessentially come together. And we saw it last night and we're seeing it now. Everybody supports one another. The help will be there. We'll clean up, we'll dig out, we'll rebuild. I want to make one final comment that, the governor, and again, I cannot thank enough the fact that the levels of support from all levels of government. I got my congressman from a different district, by the way. Okay, Congressman Norcross is here. I've got obviously my district legislative district representatives here. My good friends, Senate President Sweeney and Bob Damager, and the governor comes down. So that support is incredible. But at the end of the day, what the governor said, it's residential impact and then business impact. Locally, we were lucky enough where not many of our businesses were physically impacted. However, and this is the last comment I want to make and put a light on it, we had our farming community affected. And that is, they are the foundational pillar of where we are, and they have been for generations. Locally, the Grasso family farm was devastated. It's basically gone. And in speaking with him at 11:30 last night, he is devastated. But as he said, he will rebuild. He had his farming community family around him pledging their support to help him get through the rest of the season and somehow salvage whatever that might be and rebuild. And just north of us in Mantua, the Ecos farm, the largest dairy farm, I believe, Governor, in the state, with right. 250 plus cows, where we're told at this point they've lost as much as 100 of those cows. It's devastating to that business and to that to that culture, and I want everybody to just keep them in your thoughts and prayers now.
Well said.
Thank you.
And Lou, you make a very important point. It's farms here, and then if you go into the central part of the state, northern part of the state, it's Main Street businesses. I saw a video of Milburn in Essex County last night. You and I looked at that. A raging river down right down the middle of town, and all those small businesses are crushed, and the farms down here are crushed, and there are homes obviously in all over the state. Maybe take one more. We got to keep up.
Your DEP commissioner was down in Morris River Township last week.
Yep.
Morris River Township, Senator Testa helped set it up.
Yep.
They were asking him for storm mitigation protection measures.
Yep.
He left without committing any.
Yep.
What do you guys say about that?
Listen, he's doing a lot. In fairness to him, the DEP is just, you may have seen, put out a big report with the Army Corps of Engineers, which is a preliminary report, but a big one as it relates to resiliency as up against storms. That's more focused on the shore than it is on the shore. Largely came through last night. Okay, most of what we're dealing with, the overwhelming amount of what we're dealing with, is inland. But they'll be there, I promise you. But it's the game changer will be continuing to do what we're doing, and God willing, do more. And then with Donald's help and other colleagues, adding on top of that the federal money to really, that's the game changer in terms of building the resilient infrastructure we need. Maybe one last one, sir.
Just for Bob, can you name the municipalities in Gloucester County that you assess damage in, or do you know there's damage?
Well, Harrison Township,
Bob,
Mullica Hill, where we're at.
Do you mind coming in, Bob?
Harrison Township, where we're at right now, Mullica Hill. Woodbury Heights, Deffert, Winona was hit hard. Several of the other towns weren't hit as hard, but just got a piece of it. But Mantua was hit hard. Mantua, Winona, Harrison Township, I think, were the hardest hit.
Yeah.
And on the outskirts, Woodbury Heights, a little bit of Woodbury.
And Deffert.
And Deffert.
Yeah.
So, and I just want to let you know, and to the people that live here and the residents that are here, I know every one of these gentlemen very well that are standing around me. This isn't just a photo op for a bunch of politicians to stand here. These people will be here for the residents of this community and the rest of Gloucester County. And they'll all tell you, to roll none of their words, we're not walking away from anybody. We'll be here through the process, right, Governor?
You betcha, Bob.
And you can count on us. You need anything, you call me in the county.
Yep.
You call your local legislature. Our congressman will help out. And, all the way up to the governor. So we're here for the duration. We're not going anywhere. Nobody's left behind. So thank you, Phil.
Extremely well said, Bob. And I just want to underscore that with great emphasis. So to the Colonel and Bob, Lou, thank you for hosting us. Steve, you're being attacked here. Bill, Donald, John, to everybody here, especially to the residents who have been impacted so severely. We are with you. This won't be overnight, by the way. This is going to be a longer road than any of us would like, but we will not relent, and we will stay with it every step of the way. Thank you all. God bless.
Steve.